today is the big day. I'm so excited because the rock trail is finally done. What I've done is I've created almost like a roller like you'd see with a dirt. This is gonna be so much fun! Hello everyone, welcome to today's video and welcome to my sad, overgrown, and wannabe rock garden. I built this trail last year, and as soon as I did so, I sadly realized that this section was a year-round muddy swamp. I knew right away that I was going to need to armor it up, and I could build a great rock garden here. So since then, I've just been collecting rock and basically just chucking them here where I think they're going to go, but other than that, the section has remained an untouched and sad muddy mess. So let's change that. First, I'm going to need some supplies. To start, you're going to need something to haul the rocks over to where you want them. If there's just a few, a wheelbarrow will work just fine. But hey, if you know that you're going to be moving a whole lot of these suckers and they're heavy, you're going to need a powered vehicle for sure. Next, you're just going to need something to dig and move some dirt around. A simple spade or McLeod will work just fine. You might need some dirt and some sand, and of course, you're going to need some rocks. I've got some good news though. You can find some rocks for free. You don't need to go to some expensive landscape depot or something like that. I spent the year just watching Marketplace and Craigslist, and it's surprising how often people will post landscaping rock for free. Next, we gotta plan the trail out. I'll basically leave the trail the same as I had it last year, kind of in the same area I've been chucking these rocks. There is the exception of this one spot though. When I first built the trail, I sloped it down and it ends up being way too close to this little seasonal creek that we have. So instead, I'm going to move the trail up a little bit. So instead of going down there, I think it would be better if we routed it through this section here. It's higher and it's got further away from the creek. I think we can do that and put it back down there on the trail and have a good shot. So that means I have a lot of brush to clear up. Okay, now that we know where the trail's gonna go, it's actually not just chucking rocks and throwing them down. It's a left brain, right brain, full body workout. Let me go over some of the basics with you. Now there's all different kinds of rock laying methods, but I'm going to use what's called the Flagstone method or the Pavers method. In some ways it is just kind of a way of fitting a bunch of rocks together like a puzzle, but they're not all flat. To make this more sturdy and sustainable, it's important to incorporate larger and deeper rocks that can better anchor everything in place too. You don't have to do that with all of the rocks, but at least some. That way some of the other rocks, if they shift a little bit, they have something to anchor them in place. Now for this trail, I placed an anchor rock about every 3 feet or so. So here's one of our anchor rocks here, and some of the stones next to it are pretty flat, so I really want something to anchor it in. Now normally I should have done this beforehand and always set your anchors first, but I'm coming back and fixing this part of the trail, so we're just going to shove it in here and make it work. You can see this is actually the thicker part of the rock. It doesn't sit evenly if it's just on its own, but I'm going to bury it so that this nice big chunk down here is going to be anchored in the ground. I think it should fit up pretty nicely with this side rock once I get it in. So right now I just have to get it dug deeper, and that's what I'm going to do next. Now most of these anchor rocks that I have are pretty small. It would have been better to have bigger ones, but hey, I could only find and move rocks that were so big. Also, if you're working with a steep slope, it's best to start at the bottom and work your way up. For my trail, it's pretty flat, so that didn't really matter here. This took me several weekends to finally finish. I didn't exactly have the best set of helpers. I mean, look at these guys. All they do is lay around all day. Are you helping me? Or are you in the way? Huh? Yeah. Are you silly? Are you silly? Another thing to keep in mind is water management. Now, because this took me several weeks to build, I got to see how well it was holding up and how it was shedding water as the build progressed. It's true, building the trail up above the natural grade does prevent water from getting on the trail, but that water has to go somewhere eventually. And for me, it was much more important and sustainable to create a rolling grade with the rocks. That way I could allow the water to flow where I wanted it. So this spot down here is a really low spot and it will shed off the trail that direction. And then you can see the trail is raised here and then it drops back down. It's another low spot so it can shed water that way. It stays pretty low. This is actually the lowest spot right here. So originally when I cut this trail it went straight that way and that was just too, that actually goes too low farther into the creek. We've got a little seasonal creek back there. So instead, I cut this new section of trail here, added some rock, and kept this as the low spot for shedding water, and then it builds back up just a little bit. Only one thing left to do now. All right, dropping in. Down the poison trail. Woo! Let's go find me some rock. Nice! Smooth! Woohoo! Yeah! Wow, this thing has been a freaking blast. I'm so glad that I put in the hard work and I finally got it done. I built it all by myself, me, myself, and I, which is just amazing. I get to ride my bike on it. I'm at my house. I mean, just amazing. I'm so glad that we did this. So thanks for joining me on this video. I hope you learned something today, and I will see you in the next one.